What is wrong with this generation of kids? Girls walking around with head bonnets on in public and with their house shoes on and twerking everywhere and low hanging cut this and all that and just showing everybody everything that they want to see. Boys walking around with saggy pants, head half done, do rags, no respect for adults. They get in school, don't want to do their work. All they want to do is smoke weed. They want to have sex. They want to play on video games, play on their phone. They get on these jobs and don't want to work. They're always calling off during payday. They quit after a couple of days, couple of weeks, saying this work's too hard. I ain't got time for that. All this type of crap. What is wrong with these kids? They start killing each other when they have disagreements instead of fighting or talking it out. I mean, they ain't got no respect for the police, no respect for adults. What is wrong with these kids? Well, ain't nothing wrong with the kids. There's something wrong with the information that they've been given. From age 0 to 7 is when the children or humans are in a theta state of mind. That's the state of mind that a hypnotist puts you in order to hypnotize you. Or a psychologist will tell you to relax in order to get into your subconscious. That's how you speak to your subconscious, is to get you in that brain frequency. All right. So with that brain frequency, you're just receiving information. You don't really act on anything. They're a clean slate. They're like an empty cassette tape. They're like an empty floppy disk, like with a laser stick. They're just empty. So they're just soaking up information, and that's what they're afraid. What's going on with their brains. So if all they're getting is bad information or information that's counterproductive to being an adult, or incomplete information, well, that's how we're programmed. Okay? And then they get older. They become adolescents. They're children with adult feelings, right? So that's the time they're trying to find themselves. Girls walk around with all this excessive makeup, changing all their clothes every 5 seconds, putting all types of crap on the internet with crazy pictures, trying to get all these likes and all this, that, and the other, and trying to be accepted. Men get to posing on the internet with toting guns and fanning money and all this, that, and all this to get attention. They're trying to find themselves. Then they get a little older, right? And before age 26, as far as their brain development goes, they don't have any concept of consequences. Like, if I do this, that, and the other, this may mess up my life. It only takes 10 seconds to make the wrong decision, and you'll be dealing with it for the rest of your life. So all that being said, the information that they're getting are coming from people, meaning their parents. Number one, that don't stay together. Why don't they stay together? Because they don't know how to deal with relationships. They don't know how to. They can have sex, they can fight, they can argue, they can hang out, but to build a relationship worth that'll stand the test of time, that is sustainable, they have no idea how to do it. Why? Because they have no example of how to do it. So what happens? Mom and dad don't get along, right? And they split up. How many children do you know that are raised by their biological parents from birth to adulthood? Very few and far between, right? So once they have these children, they don't get along, which creates a stressful environment. So dad's stressed out. The mama's stressed out. So you got two stressed out parents that are no longer together trying to raise children under those stressful circumstances. Let's say there's a single mama. She has to be mom and dad. The dad checked out because if me and you ain't together, that means I don't got to be a daddy no more. And by the way, here go these child support payments, and that's all I got to do. I ain't got to spend no time with him. I ain't got to do nothing. And so the child is pretty much raised incomplete, because you cannot replace that masculine masculine energy. And so that you take this child that's exposed to way too much adult information. I'm talking about on the cable, on the satellite, on the internet, social media. They're getting all these different perspectives and information on how to become an adult, and more times than not, they're wrong, right? So we're dealing with that. And speaking of adult information, most adults can't handle adult information, let alone children. So we got the parents that don't get along. So they really don't have no example of how a family is supposed to be. A lot of times the mama's bitter, talking junk about the dad the whole time. So the daughter or the son wakes up thinking that their dad ain't shit. Or they get to their daddy's house and the daddy's talking about their mama ain't hitting on 2 cents. And all that is how horrible their mama is or whatever. And they just get caught up in the middle. And let's say, that's the extreme. Let's say they are co-parenting. And they're doing it very well. They're still not waking up to see their biological mommy or their biological daddy. You could get a good replacement, but you can't. Nobody can love you like something that really belongs to you. So a lot of these kids, they're growing up with low self-esteem. They grow up angry. So how do you expect somebody that's dysfunctional, raised in a dysfunctional environment, to be functional? How do you expect somebody that's irrational and expect them to be rational? So all I'm saying in a nutshell is, if you look at the circumstances that these children these days have to deal with, and more times than not, they're dealing with a broken family. What I mean with both of their parents aren't together. And then let's say the broken family where one of the parents go up and deal with in another environment where the environment may be counterproductive to what is an example of a good family. So mama may pick up old sorry man, and he be a bad example. Or some dude, or the father may grow up and just have multiple women running in and out the house and all this, that, and the other. All this. And then on top of all of that from their parents, they have children in the exact same predicament, and they're learning and teaching each other things, stupid things like, if you want to be a part of my gang, you want to be a part of us, guess what? You got to kill somebody to get rank. Or if you're a girl, if you want to be a part of our gang, you got to be beat to get in, or you have to be sexed to get in, to belong. Whole lot of stuff they got to put up with. So y'all, before we start pointing at these kids, we need to take a look at ourselves first and see what type of examples that we are.